What's going on? Welcome back. So here I've got the Stifler's braces that you saw me fitting up in the last video, and man, do they look awesome. They fit up real nice under the car, so nice in fact that they pretty much line up right underneath the base plates for the bolt-in Maximum Motorsports roll bar that I have. And my goal here today is to make some supports that will run off the Stifler's braces right up to the base plate of the roll bar from the underside. And in case you're wondering, or if you didn't see my last video, the point of this support will be to tie the base plates of the roll bar into the chassis via these Stifler's braces that are tied in with everything else. So I've got two different design ideas in mind that I'll try to make, and I'll just go with the one that I like better or I think works better. So for the first design, I've got some rectangular tubing. It's the same stuff I use for the rocker rails. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick and will be plenty strong for what I want it to do. There's about a 1 to 1.5 inch gap between the bracing and the plate for the roll bar, so I won't need much of it at all. So I'm going to do two supports like this on the middle brace here, and these will go up and support that backing plate. So as you see here, it's not all uniform, and I'll have to contour the brackets just to get a better fit, especially in this area. It'll be a little tricky, but totally doable. So for the second design, I got this 4.5 inch round tube that's also about 1/8 of an inch thick. It's pretty big. It nearly covers the entire surface of the base plate and would tie into the Stifler's brace in 4 spots. It would kind of sit like this on the brace. So right away you can see how this bracket definitely covers a lot more surface area. As you can see, it ties into the bracing in 4 different spots here. The only thing is, it just might be a pain to get it to sit right with all the contours and angles that are going on with the brace and then the floor. But we'll see how it turns out. Here you can see I marked out the material that I'm going to shave off to get a better fit onto the bracing, and then I'll just keep taking more off and adjusting until I get the fit that I need. Alright, so it's a little tough to see, but I've got both supports in place. Obviously, had to do some minor trimming here and there, but I've got them fitting in nice and snug. And now you got a pretty good idea of how these will support the main hoop of the roll bar. You know, like in the absolute worst case scenario of a hard rollover where the roof collapses and pushes that main hoop down against the floor, the base will now be rock solid because it's tied in and supported by all of this chassis bracing, not just the floor pan. And best of all, like I said before, if the roll bar ever needs to come out for whatever reason, it's still removable. Like, that's a huge win in my book. Here's a better angle from the back. I really like how low-key this design is. It's not very noticeable or distracting. It's really simple, and yet it does what it's supposed to do. And I think it looks awesome. I'm going to try my hand at the second design I have in mind, and then I'll see how that one turns out, and then we'll just go from there. So here it is, the second bracket all trimmed up to fit the brace. It was definitely a little tedious getting all the measurements right, and it took a lot of trimming and adjusting, but it finally fits up like it's supposed to. It's supposed to look something like that. Fits up real nice and clean thanks to that band file sander I've got. That thing came in handy big time for cleaning up the cuts and making, small precise adjustments. So let's see how it fits up on the car. Alright, so there it is, all mounted up. Everything looks good, fits nice and snug. It's definitely more bulky, it's definitely more noticeable, but I think it looks kind of cool. I wanted to try both ideas either way. At first glance, I'm kind of leaning towards the first design a little more. I just like how it's a little bit more sleek and simple. It's a little more stealthy and out of the way unless you really look for it. But I mean, once it's all painted, everything's going to blend in anyways. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Came out good. Alright, so here it is. I've got my whole front suspension set up literally sitting on my kitchen table. And if you're wondering, no, my wife is not home right now, which also explains why these parts are sitting on the kitchen table. Alright, so I guess I'll start with the largest thing on here, which is the Maximum Motorsports K-member. Actually, all of these components here are basically from Maximum Motorsports. You can just tell the K-member is extremely solid, really well built. You can see everything is boxed in and braced really well, and the added diagonal bracing. I really like how beefy the mounts are for the control arms on the sides here. For tubular K-members, they're not the lightest out there, but they're definitely one of the best options in terms of strength and quality. And they still are quite a bit lighter over the factory piece, But with the K-member, the A-arms, the coilovers all together, I still save about 40 pounds over the factory stuff, which is not bad at all. And that leads me to these guys here. So these A-arms are also from Maximum Motorsports, and again, they look really well built. These are the non-offset version, but the combination of the K-member and these A-arms will still push the front wheels forward by about 3/4 of an inch. And you've probably noticed that they have no spring perches, so obviously the Saleen is going to get coilovers. This front coilover kit is also from Maximum. Most of it's still in the box, but you get the idea. The springs are Hypercool 375-pound springs, which is just based off of what Maximum Motorsports suggest. The one thing I don't have sitting here are my front struts. I'm going to be running the Cloudkicker D-Specs. They have the built-in rebound and compression adjustment rather than just the single rebound. Moving on, I got the 4-bolt Maximum Motorsports caster camber plates. Pretty self-explanatory if you're playing around and altering suspension geometry. You definitely need to have the ability to adjust the caster and camber if you're lowering the car like I plan to. Again, really nice quality, and I like the powder-coated black finish on them. Here I've also got the Maximum Motorsports bump steer kit, and they use the 5/8 bolt, which give you like the maximum amount of adjustment. Downside is you have to drill out the spindle arm, fit the bolt through, but it's pretty massive. Moving on, here I've got some aluminum steering rack bushings. They don't have any give to them like rubber or urethane, so the steering response should improve significantly. I just hope it doesn't make the steering too sensitive, but we'll see. It's an easy swap out if I want to change them out down the road. And then here I just have the shorter sway bar end links. This stuff here is just a sway bar relocation kit that I got from Maximum, and the Energy sway bar mounts and bushings. This kit is supposed to move the sway bar forward an inch and prevent any clearance or alignment issues. And that's pretty much it. I'm not quite ready to put this stuff in just yet, but it is getting close. I figured I'd just let you guys in on what the front suspension was going to look like. From day one, the emphasis was always going to be on the chassis and suspension for this build. This car will definitely be suited for more of a road course setting rather than just straight line performance. I want this thing to be able to hold its own on a road course. It's just much more fun to drive a properly sorted car. So that's the goal. Anyway, so that's it for now. I'm going to leave it here, and I'll see you on the next one.